back. I'm Diyar and I'm joined by T and Stan here for a brand new midweek live show. It's all a bit right now. It feels all a bit rushed because we planned this during the season rather than preseason, and it's all on my fault. But you know what? I thought let's go live. Let's start this show. It's going to be midweek. You guys can also join as well. We'll be posting a link in the YouTube description, not YouTube description, YouTube comment section. We can click it. Join the show. Let us know what you think as we go along with the show. We'll be talking about the Chelsea game, talk about the latest news with Palace, and we'll be ending it off doing a quick preview on the Brentford game. So hopefully all you guys enjoy it. If you're watching this on replay, if you hit the like button and also subscribe, that'll be much appreciated as it helps out massively. Good seeing some familiar faces here. Louis Tidy, Damo, talking about the kit man. No, we're not talking about the kit man. We're talking about Patrick Vieira. Yeah, no kit man. Luke, lots of Palace fan as well. Oh, it's going to be a good show, boys. It's going to be a good show. I saw Luke on the weekend, but quickly, I'll post a link here. So if you guys want to join it, feel free as we go along with it. And let's start with the Chelsea game. Everyone's talking about that. First game of the season, Patrick Vieira's first opportunity for us to see how Vieira is in a competitive game against the champions of Europe. Look, it didn't go well for us. We lost 3-0, but it was still somehow better than the Roy Hodgson result that we got last season. So let me start with VT. Where did it go wrong in this game for you? You talked about with Patrick straight after giving your instant reaction. But what do you think was a key thing that we just got it maybe wrong? Was it the Chelsea opposition? Was it personnel? What was it?
I feel like there was a couple areas that maybe could have been changed, but I understand why we made those moves, particularly starting Mateta up top. I see why it was done, just because Benteke hadn't had a lot of preseason action. But I feel like if we'd have made that move, even though he didn't have a lot, he played really well. We saw some return from him immediately upon being up top. So I think him being there would have made a difference. And I think our choice of a formation coming out made a huge difference for us too. I think one of the things that it seems like PV wants to do is be pragmatic and really try to plan, plot, and strategize for who we're going against. And the idea of trying to have 4 in the midfield to combat what they were going to do with 5 in their midfield, I think was understandable on the outside. But I think for us, it hurt us because of everything we had done in the preseason prior. Then flipping to that probably threw us off a little bit.
Stan, do you agree? Like maybe we didn't have, for example, people are talking about in the comments. Evan says Gallagher, Mack, and Luke could start against Brentford. We'll be talking about the Brentford game later on. But do you think we had enough players in there? Ideally, when you look at the starting lineup, it was basically the Roy Hodgson side plus Mark Guay. And we've brought in new personnel. We've got Benteke, who maybe he should have started. Do you think the lineup wasn't ideal as well?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he was a little bit naive in his team selection, but I think his hands were tied a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mateta, man, I'm just not convinced. I mean, he needs a bit more competitive game time, but I'm genuinely not convinced by him. He didn't get much of the ball, but when he did get it, my God, was he bad with it. Coyote, centre back, we're looking at him, and look, like, he's a midfielder, man. He's got an engine on him, right? And you could see the fouls that he was committing. They were like fouls that a midfielder would commit further up the field. Do you know what I mean? And he was committing them closer to our penalty area and stuff. So I wonder why he didn't maybe even go with Kelly and put Coyote in midfield, even though he was limited for players. Obviously, I know Anderson is maybe lacking a bit of match fitness. Same with Benteke. I think it was always going to be a tough ask, to be honest with you. Like, it was always going to be a tough ask. Even if he put out the best team he possibly could, it was always going to be a tough ask. So yeah, a bit of a baptism of fire for him. I think he might have been a little bit naive with that team selection. I mean, I'll touch on it now. Like, I don't know how Ayu's still getting a game in a Premier League team, man. Like, he was... What have we got to do for him to get rid of him, mate. Christ on a bike.
Starting on the Ayew conversation already. Look, I'll say this though: you can't blame this game on Jordan Ayew. You can't. You can't say. You can't. This is what I don't want. Someone else tweeted me saying the same thing, saying Jordan Ayew, he ain't the man for us. He ain't ready. I agree, but let's not do the scapegoating now. Let's not talk about Jordan Ayew when there was lots of other players who weren't up to it as well.
He's definitely not the reason why we lost.
Yeah, he's
not at all.
He's definitely
but you lot are starting the scapegoating. You're starting already. Why you mention Jordan Ayew then? Why you mention Jordan Ayew?
I just think because I observed during the game, you know what? To Jordan Ayew's credit, he made some runs, which when he started making them, they looked quite promising. But then he just ran into another player, or he wasn't look, he's not to blame. I think it was collectively a very poor performance from the team. Let's be realistic. It was always going to be difficult, but he also didn't help matters. But none of them did. So
I think there were a lot of it's similar to kind of what Stan said. I think in a lot of ways, Patrick Vieira had his hands tied when it comes to certain selections on the team. You got Benteke who had limited time, and apparently over here I'm seeing it maybe have had some type of little foot niggling. I'm not sure about that. Didn't hear much about that. You've got a guy like Anderson who I think a lot of people wanted to see him start, but if I'm the coach and I've got this brand new guy in my system coming in, and he has really no preseason warm up at all, do I throw this guy in immediately? I don't know. Maybe not. And I think it's sensible for him to have not done that. But then you have the choices of, do you put Kouyaté in there for him because he's a better ball player than somebody like a ball playing center back type than a Tompkins or a Kelly to play the type of ball that you want to play? Do you move Kouyaté into central midfield and then play a Kelly or a Tompkins at the back? So I think there were a lot of really hand-tied team choices that could have been made. I mean, you could say Ayew, but some people want, start Roxaki. It's like, do we really want to start a 19-year-old at right at right back? Right wing the first.
We do. But we do. We do. I don't know why guys are saying that he ain't ready. What makes you think he's not ready? Just because he's 19? There's players
I think physically, I think physically more than anything is the reason why people will have issues or be worried about him. I mean, I don't know if he's ready for the physicalities right off the bat of starting in a Premier League football game.
Well, look, we got one guest here, Nick. He's also from Back of the Nest. I went to the game with him. But if you guys want to join, I posted a link in the comment section so you can click on it and join in with the conversation. Let's ask Nick. I'm just going to try to bring him on right now. I'm just getting used to the new software. I'm still in preseason form, by the way. Let's see if he... Also, let us know as well about Raksaki. Do you think he's ready to start the next game? Personally, I think he's ready. He's got the talent. We can question about his physicality, but under Patrick Vieira, I think it's a whole different side, and you need more technical ability than physical ability to succeed there. And I think he'll be the man. Let me bring Nick on right now. Nick!
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Nick, how's it going, man?
First guest on the show. I was at the Chelsea game with you. We're talking about Raksaki, but before I get your thoughts on Raksaki, what did you just make of the game in general?
Well, first things first, I haven't got COVID yet, which was my biggest worry because it was quite rammed in the concourse, wasn't it, Diyar?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just so good to be back at a game, meeting up with people beforehand and bit banter with the other fans, but just being in the crowd again, it is a whole new experience. And look, Diyar, we'll never ever recreate Benteke scoring against Brighton in the watch along, will we? You know, that is a COVID memory that will live forever. But there's nothing like being at a game, is there? Even if you're getting beat. Chelsea European Championships, their atmosphere is terrible, man. Considering, you know, they're the best team in Europe. They're fans, they're plastics, man. None of them are local, are they? You know, at least we support our local team, don't we?
So you just came here just to select Chelsea?
No.
Go ahead. What next about Chelsea? What else did you like about them? They got the flags as well that's waving at the ground.
Oh, I was moaning about that during the game. Imagine being employed to wave a flag at a football match.
Well, it happens in America.
Yeah, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah.
I suppose. I just on the flag, but I see that displays are being set up. Fan displays are being set up around Selhurst ready for Saturday, which should be interesting to see, which is good. Organised by the fans, not by the club, which again
Organised by the
shows,
fanatics. Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
Raksaki,
Yeah.
he's exciting, isn't he? Imagine if all these people said the same thing about Michael Owen when he was 19 and coming good. Oh, he's too young. He won't be strong enough. How good was he for England at an early age? Why can't we say the same about youngsters for Palace? You know, and with youngsters, they've got no fear. I don't think. I think they offer something a little bit different because they haven't had stuff drummed into them so much. They've got nothing to lose, have they? So they just. I mean, you're 19, Diyar. You're crazy, man. So I mean, I'm a lot more
19.
sensible.
You're making me younger than I am. All right, I'll
sorry.
take it anyway. I'll take it anyway. I'll take it anyway. But as a I'll say 19. Let me turn 19 now. I'll still be happy. If you go in his perspective, I'll still be happy. I don't think Raksaki is worried about facing Chelsea. He came on and he was still good enough, in my personal opinion. He offered more than Ayew, and he doesn't have to play out wide. Raksaki is a crazy player. We've seen it in pre-season. So if you're talking about next game, I think he's ready. I really do think he should be starting ahead of Ayew. And if Patrick, not Patrick Van Aanholt, God forbid, we're talking about him again.
I've been doing that too. Don't worry about it.
Patrick Vieira, I'm still in pre-season form. If Patrick Vieira actually believes in Raksaki, I think he'll start him. I think he'll start him ahead of Ayew. I really do, because I don't think Ayew offered more.
If I was Jez, I would feel like I should be starting right now. I'll be honest. If I was him, I feel like I should be playing in front of him. I can do more than him. I'm better than him. That's how I would be feeling as a 19-year-old kid. Like ready to.
I could do more than Ayew, and I'm 36 years old and a stone overweight, and I could probably do more than him out there.
But stop using him as a scapegoat. Stop using him as a scapegoat.
Now, don't get me wrong. When I was speaking about the fact that of why Jez isn't starting, I was speaking from the perspective of probably what Vieira is thinking about when it comes to just throwing him in the fire. Me personally, I play him. Period.
I thought he did offer a lot when he come on. And there's a reason that we fought so hard to get him out of the clutches of the Man Cities, getting to sign that new deal. Like, the club have really, really gone to town on him. So, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? He gets a run of a couple of games and he's no good, and they stick him back in the under-23s. But you know what I mean? When he's showing like what he's shown for the reserve, for the under-23s. Did you see him yesterday? You see the stuff he was doing in the first half yesterday. He's quality.
That little run he had was crazy.
Well, just getting back to the Chelsea game, because I've only got 5 minutes. I've got stuff to do, but I thought I'd come burst your bubble on the first show. What we were missing, I think, was somebody like Gallagher, who we couldn't play. And we had that big gap in the middle in the first half, weren't we, where we had the back four playing the ball around nicely, but Chelsea had that high press. We didn't have the outlet ball. Now, personally, I was hoping that Gyro would be the one that would get the ball and maybe carry it forward and look for a pass. There wasn't much movement from the front three. We can argue about the formation. But if Gallagher's as good as we said, to receive the ball, take it forward a bit and spray the ball about, then hopefully that's a missing link, I think. Also, why couldn't Kouyaté be in that position? We were talking about it during the game, weren't we, Diyar, that we need to go to a back three as soon as possible. And we were pleased that PV did it, but we both felt it was about 20 minutes too late, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Well, Nick, before you go, I know you're busy. Quick question. Should we be worried based on what we saw in the Chelsea game?
What, against the European champions? With lots of injured players and potentially our best player not there, and Elise 2 weeks away, Eze possibly not back till January. Lots of rumours about different signings coming in, an exciting new manager who wants to take the club forward and play a different style of football where we don't sit back and counter. No, I don't think we should be worried. Ask me after Brentford.
After Brentford. All right, then. After the Brentford game, come on the show next Tuesday, and then we'll talk to you again, and I'll ask you the same question. But thanks for coming on, Nick, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, take care, man.
See you.
Nice one, Nick.
That was Nick on the show, just letting his thoughts out. Personally, I just want to quickly, before the Chelsea game, I don't want to ramble on too much. We'll be talking about latest Palace news as well. Personally, where I think it went wrong was the formation. Look, in pre-season, we was talking about the 4-3-3. That's what he was playing. Patrick, not Patrick Bonanno. Jeez, this guy's stuck in my head. Patrick Vieira. It's a PV that's just stuck in my head. Patrick Vieira. We're talking about his formation and 4-3-3. And in this game, he did change it. And that's the one thing I was looking forward to, because I was not too sure whether the 4-3-3 will work, and he changed it to a 4-4-2. And I can try to bring up the heat map. I'm not too sure if it's going to work to show you guys. It looked like a 4-4-2 at the stadium, but when you're actually looking at the heat map, it just looks like a 1-2-5. God knows what this formation is. Let me quickly try to share my screen with you guys. That's the wrong thing. I'm still fairly new to this, but anyways, it was quite hectic. It's not working. All right, we'll try and get that solved out. It was a 4-4-2, and it did change about. But personally, I think that's what really cost us. The personnel, we didn't have enough players, and the formation, as Nick said, was getting outrun in midfield. You talked about Diyar and Maka being in midfield against 4 or 5 Chelsea players. Now we're just losing a battle. Ideally, if we match them with the formation, which we did do in the second half, which is the positives out of this game, that Patrick Vieira, it's Patrick Vieira, he did change it about. That's a positive. Joachim Andersen came on. We went to a back 3. So, you know what? This game, we did get it wrong. It was the Champions of Europe, but it's only one game. There's no need to overreact.
I agree.
And in the next game against Brentford, look, we'll talk about it in more detail. I think that's a game where we can realistically assess Patrick Vieira against a side that was newly promoted, a side that's going to also press us, rather than getting carried away against the Champions of Europe, with a Roy Hodgson side plus Mark Guay in a formation that I don't think it worked. You know, there's no need to get. Carried away.
I agree, dear. As soon as he came in and switched to a back 3, and when you think like back 3 and Crystal Palace, you automatically think Frank de Boer with was it Luca playing at the back and Osu and Gyro, I think, or something like that. But anyway, like he went to a back 3. He brought on Anderson. You saw like the crossfield balls that he can ping. Like you saw what he can do. The other thing I will say is, in that formation when he switched it, you really noticed Benteke. Did you see like how comfortable he was on the ball? Like how well he ran with it when they switched formation. Did you see his takedown from midair when he just got it round? He twisted, straight plays it off. Like that is a better formation. And the other thing I will say is like, and it's like, you know, small victories. The progress is that he actually changed it because if Roy Hodgson was there, he'd bring on James McCarthy and put 5 across the middle. Even when we're losing, you know, he actually thought, okay, I need to have a look at this. Like the game's obviously lost, we're not getting anything. He gave Raksaki his debut, and he made 2 other very positive changes. So for me, that's almost as good as a draw, mate.
Exactly. No, Roy Hodgson is not changing to a back. He wasn't changing to 5 in midfield. It would just be the same. We would be the same 3-0. We wouldn't make a sub. We'll make a sub, but it'll be the same formation. At least with Vieira, there was a change of system, which is a good start to the new era. Like, at least it seemed like he's a manager that's going to change it up if it's not working. We'll 3-0 down, and maybe the changes were a bit too late because we saw it in the first half where we were struggling with the formation, and maybe he should have made it in the first half. But looking at the positives, he still made that change. He didn't accept defeat and said, all right, we've done it. Just keep the players as it is, keep the same formation, and let's just stick to the end. He didn't do that. But look, we got we did have Luke. Luke disappeared. We'll be talking about, look, that's enough of the Chelsea game. Let's now move on to other Palace news. 7 under-23 players have signed new contracts, which is positive. We've been talking about the youth levels. They had a good season last season, and this season they're in the first division of the Premier League. I'll be bringing up my screen. This time it should be working, and there won't be no dodgy stream. So 7 Crystal Palace under-23s have signed new contract with the club. Jake O'Brien, Jay Rich, David Boateng, Luke Dreas, Sean Robertson, Sion Spence, and James Taylor. Out of them players, the one that really does stand out is mainly for me is Jake O'Brien. He's been playing for us in the under-23 games and also in pre-season. He was in and around the first team squad as well. But I'll go to you, T. What do you make of that news? Because you've been following transfer news very heavily this summer. I've been looking at your Twitter, and every 30 seconds you're posting something about transfer news. And you've been following the under-23. So out all them players, I guess it's positive to see that the club genuinely believe that these players can actually push on and make the first team at some point.
Absolutely. I'm always interested by the goings and comings and movements of the front office, and the team and things. But I was happy to see that not only I'm always happy when we sign contracts with our younger guys because it shows that the club has faith that they'll come good as far as their progression and things. I was impressed by Jake O'Brien, watching him the entire time in preseason, and then what I got to see from him in the U23s last year. I mean, to come in as an on-loan player and then get handed the armband, even at the youth levels, that's significant. So, what I'm guessing is having somebody like Sean Derry, who's now a first-team coach, hand the armband to that kid. He's saying, yeah, this guy's got it. He's good, you know. The other guy I was really excited to see got a contract with Jay Rich Baguelu. Like, I like him. I like him a lot. And I think that both him and O'Brien, after this year, probably move up, hopefully get that chance to play on the first team and then go alongside like guys like Anderson and Gahey. And then we have a really, really young core of guys at center back that can go on for us for years to come.
Stan, what about you? Out of the 7 players I mentioned, I can bring it up for you again. Do you think any of them realistically can make the first team this season?
I think it might be a tall order. I think Jake O'Brien, I'm actually quite well connected to Cork. A lot of my, some of my best friends here in Toronto are actually from there. And I actually know someone who works for Cork City. And obviously, as soon as he signed last season, I was like, what's he like? You know, what do you think? And look, make no mistake, this kid was good. He was good for Cork, but he was coming over here coming over to the UK to really, really prove himself that he could do it. And it takes a lot to prove yourself at a Premier League club, and he's done it, and he's got a deal. And I didn't realize that he actually walked in, you know, and he was captain pretty much straight away when he came in. So I like the sound of him. I think, you know, I echo what T said. I think going to have some solid options at centre back. He looks the part as well. Like if you see him, like
he's a big kid.
He's a big lad.
He's big. He's a wham.
He looks the part. So yeah, I'm pleased about that. I think, look, you've got to keep pushing the under 23s. I know there's been a lot on Twitter over the past few years of, you know, why have we not played Nia Kirby? Why has Brandon Pierrick not got a look in? Those players obviously probably weren't good enough, but it seems like the current crop that we have coming through from 16s to 23s, there is a chance that some of them will genuinely, you know, be first team players. And if not, then, you know, carve out good careers, you know, in professional football. So it's always very, very important that we, you know, that we keep maintaining that. And obviously congrats to the players that sign new contracts.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Twitter there. We'll be talking about Twitter in more detail in just a second. T wanted to talk about it. He was getting absolutely grilled the last couple of days on Twitter. But before we do, I haven't been on the channel for ages, so I guess people want to know my thoughts on the Cahill release, which happened ages ago. I personally, I don't know about you guys. Quickly, we'll give our thoughts as well before we move on. It would have been nice to have him back at the club, but you could see it at the end of last season, that his legs were slightly catching up to him, where he was struggling with the pace of the league. And you can see it. His age was catching up as well. He's turning, he's 35, 36. So 36. It would have been nice to have him on as a leader, but there's also limits to this. And it seemed like his wage demands were way too high. And I'm not upset that he moved on. It would have been nice, but if his wage demands are too high, we don't need him at the club. I really don't think we need him. Best of luck to him, and best of luck to the other players as well that were released and moved on. I feel like our squad right now is perfectly balanced. I know during the summer, people were making out to be, Crystal Palace released 11 players. Well, released 11 players, but they were all deadwood. We needed to release them. Now we got balance on our squad. It's not just an agent squad. We got balance of experience and young talent. But many neutrals don't seem to realize this. But yeah, talking about Cahill and some of our signings and what's been going on this summer, I feel like our business has been solid. And we will talk about transfers in more detail in just a second. Now, let's quickly talk about Twitter for you, Stan. So I don't know what's going on, but I was at the game and it seemed like people been getting on to you. So explain it to the people on the show. So maybe some of these guys got onto you as well. What happened? What upset you?
I just think that, what's the best way of putting it? I just, obviously, like, for me, when we've all watched the last 3 years. I would say 3 years, because the first season that Roy was in, like it wasn't as bad. We had Kabaya, we had our Loftus-Cheek and a few other players. We've watched it, and it's got worse and worse and worse over 3 years. And I've been a huge critic of this board and this manager, etc., etc. But we have to back them. And I just felt like there were so many negative comments. And, I heard that there were people out in the coaching staff, they were out in Vieira, they were out in, various people saying you did this wrong, you did that wrong. And it's like the fans, like as fans, obviously, I will say it, majority of people that go to games are not the keyboard warriors that are on Twitter. Let's be real here, okay? But these guys and girls that are saying like there's no progression, there's no movement, we're terrible, get him out now, bring back Roy, bring back Big Sam. I had an idiot tell me on Saturday that Tony Pulis is our greatest ever manager. And I was like, and then I had another guy say, what were the tactics? Where have we gone? What's it called? Where have we gone with this? Why haven't we set up to go tactically toe to toe with them? I was like, who do you think we are? PSG? Do you know what I mean? Like, so that's what set me off. And I'll be honest, it wasn't actually Palace fans that got me going. It was actually, there was a journalist out here in Toronto for the Toronto Star. He's a guy called Brendan Dunlop. And he started going on about how...
is that the dude that talked about the De Boer era?
Yeah, he was like, Frank De Boer, he's, this is the same start, etc., etc. It was just like lazy, uninformed journalism that got me going. And then I was reading through the comments on Twitter, and that's what got me going. I understand people's opinions, but like people calling for Roy, like one guy said that like he was at the game and people were like, oh, we should have Damo and Gabidon back because there's no passion in this team. Like, we need to move on. The club needs to move on, but we also need to move forward as a fan base. And being toxic and like not liking change, and do you know what I mean? Like, we need to move forward. This team, this club, this board, whatever you thought of them previously, they have given the majority of fans what we want, right? There's fresh investment coming in, and they need our backing more than ever. I'd go as far as saying they need our backing as much now as they did when we were getting promoted, as they did in 2010, even when we were struggling to survive. They need our backing, because without the backing of the fans, this ain't going to go anywhere. We have to be patient. It's going to take 10 to 15 games, in my opinion, to really see a true Crystal Palace Patrick Vieira side.
All right, we got a question from Zach. He says, Stan, do you think all these armchair experts, keyboard warriors, are so critical of the team because we had Roy for so long who just wouldn't change the tactics at all?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, mate. I think you're spot on, bro.
you got it spot on. But there's another thing that I want to say. You're gonna see these negative comments, and these negative comments are gonna be louder than the other comments because what's the saying again? It's a minority that makes the largest sounds. Yeah. And you're seeing it personally, Stan. I'll be real. I didn't see that much. Like even today and yesterday, and whatever happened on Saturday, and it was only a few. I feel like you were so annoyed that you just put that few together and just annoyed yourself as well. I don't think it was that many people. I think the sane Palace fans, the Palace fans who understand what's going on at the club, they understand that losing against the champions of Europe 3-0 isn't the worst thing in the world, considering that it was the first game and there's still some positives to take out of it when looking at what happened with Roy Hodgson. Yeah. So it's just a few. It was just a few. Personally, I don't think it was that bad. But what do you make of it, T? You was doing a show, and I guess you went on Twitter afterwards.
Well, sometimes you got to do your due diligence and going through Twitter, because I think some people they're just there to try to get attention. They're just there to try to get people to respond to them. They're just there to get people to comment on what they're saying, like most outlandish, stupid stuff. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why you create an account and go onto the internet and just try to say the dumbest thing you can just to get other people just to pay attention to you. Like, get a life, honestly. But when you're trying to sift through some of this stuff, like I get some of the stances of some of the unhappiness, but some of it is just undue because it's like most people say, it's one game out of we got 37 left, you know, and it's kind of silly to basically damn your entire season after one game.
Yeah.
You know what I will say as well? I think what got to me as well, and this is probably me letting it get to me, was a lot of pundits are writing us off as well. And I saw Jason Cundy on TalkSport today, and he's already saying it's a long season for them, it's this, it's that. You know what, bruv? It is a long season. 38 games, August till May, 9 months. 9 months is a long time.
Mm-hmm. Let me quickly jump in with that as well. So with the pundit situation, I've noticed as soon as Patrick Vieira came into the club, there's been this agenda. There's an agenda that's going on to say Patrick Vieira isn't a man for Crystal Palace. Well, first of all these pundits and all these neutral fans, how many times have you seen a Patrick Vieira side? I bet 90% of them haven't even watched Patrick Vieira side.
Probably haven't watched League One. None of that.
They've just got this theory, I don't know from where, that Patrick Vieira isn't a good manager. Well, it might be a case that he is a bad manager. It might be a case. But you can't come on here or social media and say, oh, Patrick Vieira isn't the right man, Palace are getting relegated. Because you don't know the guy. No one knows it. I can't talk about Patrick Vieira because he hasn't done this before. But one thing that we do know is that he has managed. And he's managed in two places. In New York City, he managed to get them in better positions every single season. Mm-hmm. They're improved every single season onwards. In Nice, we will link with Favre. We will link with him. And he took over him and finished better than him. The manager that we were linked with.
He took them to the Champions League.
Exactly. The manager that we were... This is the manager that we were linked with and that we all wanted. He done better than him. So for all these pundits, so for all these Jason Cundys and all them, like I listen to talks, but I listen to it at night sometimes, you know, turn it on. But be real, how many Palace games have you watched for you to come and say, oh, it's going to be a season? You watched us play 90 minutes of football against the champions of Europe with a side that was basically Roy Hodgson's side plus Mark Guay, and Patrick Vieira is just coming, a month or two ago, and you expect us to go and challenge them? Come on, man. You have to be there to this. If you're a pundit, if you work in the media, like, give him some time. Like, what is up with all these agendas? But us as Spanish fans, we shouldn't let it get to us as well. We shouldn't let it get to us, but I just had to say it. Like, no one knows what they're talking about. Like, you haven't watched Palace. You haven't watched our preseason games. You don't know what Patrick Vieira has done. So just stop talking rubbish.
So the one more thing, sorry, T, I know you wanted to speak, but one more thing. Hasenhüttl, Potter, Klopp, Guardiola, Dean Smith. None of them had Premier League experience. None of them. Okay, Klopp and Guardiola, completely different kettle of fish. Don't get me wrong. Top-level managers, they'll do great in everything. But there was never this agenda around Brighton when they got Potter in, or Southampton when they got Hasenhüttl in, etc., etc. So where is it coming from? And even Simon Jordan, who apparently is a Palace fan, obviously, you know, he nearly bankrupted the club, etc., etc. He was on TalkSport yesterday saying it's the longest I've seen, it's the worst I've seen them play in a long time. And I was like, you're meant to be a fan. There's enough negativity on Twitter as it is. And I was like, dude, I was there in 2009 when we lost 4-0 at home to Scunthorpe when you owned the club, mate. So I've seen a lot worse than Saturday.
No. Forget about that, though. Forget about the time when Jordan... Like, you watched Palace last season. Like, if you're a Palace fan, forget about being a Palace fan. That's what I was going to say. If you're just a pundit...
game was the hardest game I've ever watched. And we lost 7-0.
If you work for TalkSport, if you're meant to be this credible guy and that talks a lot and that tries to slay others and tries to act like you know it all, then you must have watched Palace, right? You must have watched Palace. So what on earth was you watching last season? Because even Stephen Wonder would have seen that it was just awful. Mate. Like, what...
We had Scott
it was awful.
Dan.
How can he say that was worse than what happened last season?
Dan at centre back regularly, who couldn't even run. God love him, great servant to the club, but he couldn't run. You had James McCarthy at times playing in midfield. You had, I'm just even trying to think about like the other formations they had. We lost 3-0 at home to Burnley, 3-0 away to Aston Villa. We lost 2-0, I think it was, away to Burnley as well. Yep. And that's to name but a few bad performances that we had. Like, believe me, like, this is a breath of fresh air, mate. Yeah, even Saturday for me was a breath of fresh air.
And also,
exactly, like, I had a smile going to
you gotta take into account that Simon Jordan is now a media personality, and being that he's a media personality, he has a show that they try to get listeners and all that stuff. He's going to say things that are controversial to try to get people to comment on him, listen to his show, and all that type of stuff. He's just like these weirdos on Twitter that come on and say stupid stuff. That's part of what he does now. So whether he even truly believes that in his own mind, he's going to say that type of stuff because he wants to be the subject of conversation. He wants people to listen to their show. So I take everything he says with a grain of salt, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but the way he talks is just anyways. Let's not dwell on it too much. The way he talks, he tries to be the one that's not meant to be that guy. That's not meant to be like he's not trying to be a personality in the sense that he's trying to get clicks. He says what's on his mind. That's what sells Simon Jordan. That's why
exactly.
So if that's genuinely on your mind and you've watched Palace, then there's something wrong with your mind. So
it's always about him. It's always been about him. Even when he owned his club, it was always about his ego, his opinion against agents, and you know what it was like. You guys know what it was like when he was around. So just like I said, I think there is an agenda against Vieira, and I think it's quite unfair.
Let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you this, because I know after the De Boer debacle, there was a lot of talk over the fact that he wasn't an English manager. And in this situation, neither is Patrick Vieira. Is it the idea of someone managing our club that isn't English? Could there be an agenda there with that possibly as well?
Well, there's lots of. I don't think that's the case. Well, there's lots of foreign
I would
managers
hope it's
that
not because Stan just gave a ton of non-English Premier League managers that are doing great things.
Yeah.
So
I just think some people don't like change as well. Do you know what I mean? Or they need to find an agenda, right? But I just feel that there is a big Palace agenda with the media. And just to finish it off, riddle me this, right? So we share our pub with Villa. Amazing guys, great fan base, love sharing a pub with them. But one of them went up to me at halftime and he said, yeah. He said, you lot are just like us when we came up a couple of seasons ago. You know, we lost all these players, you have to replace them, etc., etc. And I was like, no, we're not. And he went, no, you are. I was like, no, mate, we've been here 9 seasons, yeah? We're not some, we haven't lost all our players. Like Diyar said previously, we've released a lot of dead wood and we're progressing, we're moving forward. It's going to take time.
And we haven't been at risk of relegation in 4 years.
In years, many years.
And but we've made all these improvements and we've made these necessary changes. But for some reason, all these stupid places, all these media outlets have us in a relegation battle, or somebody coming up to me saying, "Hey, you're a Palace fan, man. You guys are in a relegation battle this year." How?
Let me quickly read Robin's comment. He says, "Take a deep breath and be brave. It's going to take time for the football to begin, and we all moan like shit under Roy's utter rubbish. We had to watch, get a grip, get behind, and enjoy." Robin, you're a legend.
Thank you.
That pretty much sums up where we're at. Yeah. It's only been one game.
Yes.
Before we go and talk about transfer news, if you guys have enjoyed the show so far, make sure to hit the like button. It only takes a second, and subscribe. It helps us out massively. So if you can do that, that'll be much appreciated. Keep sending in your comments. We'll be talking about it in more detail. So quickly, guys, let's move on to transfer news. I just wanted to quickly talk about 2 players. The transfer shows are going to be coming back. Daily transfer shows, I'm going to be releasing them back. Where I'll talk about these players in more detail. But let me quickly get you guys a thought. So what do we need from now to the end of the season? Patrick Vieira did mention it at the end of the Chelsea game. He said that more numbers are needed. But ideally, what positions do you think that we need when going into this season, basically? Well, who else do we need? In what positions? I'll start with you, T.
I think it's pretty much similar to what Vieira said after the game. I think a striker is an important position, and central midfield is an important position for us. Me personally, I do think we need a winger, but I think that I could see us doing something where we go out and get a player that is a versatile attacker, so somebody that can play on that wing, somebody that can play up top. I think that might be the more efficient buy for us as far as not having to lay out too much money on too many players. So I think a versatile attacker and a central midfielder.
All right. Quickly, before I get your full stand, there's someone who's joining in. Red and blue. Nice having you on the show. What's your name?
Lovely, mate. Will.
Will. Nice to meet you. Will,
You doing,
what
mate?
would you like to say? Start with the Chelsea game if you want.
Yeah,
Start with the Chelsea game. What do you make of that?
I weren't shocked. I've been saying for when the fixtures came out and I saw the first 9 games, I was debating in my head whether it's going to be another Frank de Boer. Are they going to give him time? Do you think they're going to give him time before the crowd starts getting on their back? And in your ideal world, what's left to improve the squad?
Well, look, in terms of giving time, I'll ask you, Stan. Do you think that the Palace board will be giving him time?
They have to
Patrick
give him
Vieira.
time. They have to give him time. They're backing him. They've backed him so far to the tune of what, 60 million already, I think it is, with Anderson and Gay and Elise. I think they have to give him time. I think it's going to take time.
Would they not have done that anyway? Whatever manager they would have got in, they had to do that.
They would have.
They can't keep dipping in the loan market all the time.
No, they would have, and they had to buy players. But I think they have to give him time, and I think he deserves time. I think any manager needs time.
I don't want it to be another Frank de Boer situation. I don't want the club to keep going backwards. But I can't. I honestly can't see with what was being said today. Talking about Simon Jordan, talking about the new deal that's going on place with the Premier League. I can't see Palace being able to afford to drop out the Premier League at this time, especially with the amount of money that's coming through from next season. They're talking about another, up to 6.7 billion split up between the clubs or something like that over 3 seasons.
It's a whole lot of scratch.
I don't think it's going to get to that. I don't think it's going to get to that, to be honest with you. I don't. But all right, they don't give him time. Who are they bringing in? What's he going to get? Big Sam in? He's going to bring another old school English manager, play 2 banks of 4, and then what? No one's going to be happy. Like, we've got to take the risk. We've got to be progressive. Like we have to as a club.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'm totally with you. I totally agree with you 100% all the way. But I just can't see him sticking with him. I honestly can't. If it goes pear-shaped, which over the next 9 fixtures, who we've got to play, I just can't see them sticking with him, because I can only see with the performance that was on Saturday. I expected more than 1 shot on target, at least. Especially, they can't say that we were missing players because we still had a threat. You're telling me that Schlupp ain't a threat? You're telling me that Zaha ain't a threat? Because he is. He talking to him, a player standing on the halfway line, just looking so disinterested in the game. You're telling me he still wants to be there and he's interested in the project? He ain't.
But do you think the formation went against Wilf and JP? Like, they couldn't really get a service as much as they wanted. Like, Wilf was trying to show himself with the ball, but he couldn't get on the ball because of Chelsea's press and our formation.
Yeah, but surely that's down to Vieira to make the tactical change, and I didn't see no tactical change.
You don't sound too convinced on Vieira. Don't you think he will have more than 9 games?
No, I want him to work, and I want it to work, and people have been slating him for weeks. Like, my personal friends of mine be saying that he's going to flop and he's going to be the first manager to go. And I've stuck by him, and like I've said to them, like, they're saying that he got sacked from Nice and he didn't do anything in America. But if you look back at his track record in Nice, he was there for 2 seasons, and he got them into Europe in 2 seasons.
Yep.
And you're telling me he's a flop? He ain't a flop.
And he got Manchester. He got the New York City FC up in the rankings too.
He did bits there as well, and
he did. Then he went to MLS Cup final. They were.
Yeah, I know. He did do bits.
Toronto FC beat them. Just saying, but
Yep. Go ahead.
It's time to prove whether he's a good coach, because we all know he's a good coach. He's a brilliant coach, and I think
he is a winner. You can't
the
understand
write-up
that
that
as
I
well.
read about him being a coach at Man City was is impressive, and how impressed they were, and how when they shipped him off to Man City, and they didn't ship him off too early because they wanted him to be ready, and then obviously he went to Nice, but he's a brilliant coach. But time is now to see whether he's a good manager.
So Will, we're just about to talk about transfer news. Just quick thoughts on the transfers that were brought in so far, and also Vieira mentioned it as well, saying that we need to bring in new players before the end of the season. What positions do you think that we should be targeting ideally?
Need a new number 9. If he wants to take away from the play of the target man, he needs to get a number 9 because Benteke, he's not a runner between the lines. They need a striker to run between the lines, and I think the youth that they have, I don't think fits that bill to play that role. So I like the look of people's talking about Edouard, but can he do it in the Premier League?
He's quick though, isn't he? He's quick.
Oh, he's a brilliant player. Don't get me wrong, but what I've seen of him, he's got some great pace. But can he do it in the Premier League? Is he going to get the service?
But that's a thrill of it. Like you want to try and find these players that that might do it in the Premier. Like who ideally can we get apart from Edouard that's proven themselves in the Premier League? Like who can we get at this moment of time? Yeah, that's the hard thing about it.
That's the point. That's the point. There's no one out there for a good reasonable fee that can prove it in the Premier League without taking that risk.
I mean, but
I'm
if
willing
you
to
think
take
about
the
it,
risk.
it's a lot of times that these teams are putting outlay on guys that haven't proven it. I mean, Aston Villa went out and picked up Watkins and was like, "Hey, the question was, can he do it?"
I wish he's one player that we should have went out all guns blazing to get.
I think we were in for
but
it.
it would have been. But see,
we were in
for him.
But it would have
been the same question that you're talking about right now.
They wanted to go to play for Dean Smith because he played for him at Brentford. I think that was.
It would have been the exact same question. Though.
There,
Can he do it in the Premier League? He's never done. He's not proven. He's never done it in the Premier League.
Olise, all these players. Yeah, all these players.
Can these players come back? I know that. I understand that. But I still think we still need a player to run through the lines. If he wants to play that attractive press, he wants to play that passing out from the back. And he brought Joachim Anderson in for that long passing range to pass through the lines. He needs a runner.
I think Edouard.
What we have at the minute to run through the lines, I don't think we have because Zaha's not. He ain't a number 9.
It's just like we need someone that can replace Ayew on the wings as well. I think we need a tricky, pacey winger that can cause people.
Do you know who I'd like to see come back? Dwight Gale.
Nah,
Dwight Gale.
Honestly, mate, he said no. Honestly, he is. You are. When Gale was at the club, was we playing that type of football?
No, yeah, he could run through the lines and he could finish. I'll give him that, but I don't think he's up to it anymore.
Brilliant finisher. I don't think he was given a chance.
But why do you think it's never worked out for him in the Premier League? Because he's been at Newcastle as well.
You're telling me that Newcastle got a better squad than us?
No, but he was at Newcastle. He was at Newcastle. Like he's tried it in the Premier League. I think he was at West Brom when they were in the Premier League. I'm
in
not
the Championship.
But like he always does it in the Championship. But when it comes to the Premier League, he just can't make that step up. Like not every player can play in the Premier League. So I feel like Dwight Gale. And also he's not young as well.
I think for the amount of money that it would cost. I don't know. Maybe they should be reaching better.
I mean, the guy. I think one of the guys they should really be taking an honest look at is Jovic Origi.
Yeah, Divock Origi for sure.
Like for sure. I mean, because people say, "Oh, well, he's back of the pack in Liverpool, wasn't making any appearances." Y'all talking about the same dude that had a brace in the Champions League, man.
Yeah.
Like the dude is proven in European
football. In the final, didn't he?
In the final.
Yeah.
Like don't play this dude like he's not really good. Like that dude can play, and he's versatile. He can play on the wing too when you need him to.
I think Noni Madueke, if we can go after him, that would.
He's the most ideal player. Yeah, he's the dream. He's the dream.
He can play on the left. He can play on the right. He can run through the channels. Like
he can play behind. He can play behind.
I think you know what, Mateta. I think he's a problem. I'm being honest with you. I think he's a problem.
I agree. What I saw in pre-season of him,
He
his
hasn't really
touch
that
is
ideal.
awful.
His touch is bad.
He's got an awful first touch.
Yeah. But
He's
he's
missing Hodgson. Under Hodgson, he wasn't doing that. He's missing Hodgson. As soon as Hodgson left, he's lost the plot. But the thing with JP is that we might have to sign him if we keep playing him. What is it? I think 10 or 15 games. If he start
15 appearances.
In
Yeah,
15
I can
yeah.
see him
appearances,
going
the
back.
club needs to make a decision, and the club needs to
Now,
make a decision.
is
We need
it
to bring in a
15?
striker.
Is it 15
I think he only
appearances
started
or
on Saturday
15
because Benteke
starts?
wasn't ready.
Is it
Yeah.
15 starts or 15
I
appearances?
feel like it's 15
15
starts
starts,
because
I think it might be
15
starts, but he started it.
15 because 15 appearances in an 18-month loan is not hard.
Million pound of
Yeah.
stocks. It's 15 million they want for him, don't they?
Yeah,
got-
£1 million.
He only started 3 times under Hodgson though.
Did he
Jeez,
start
that's
3
scary.
times?
Yeah, he's got 4. Yeah, he's got 4 starts already. Then.
Yeah,
Something
you
like
can only
that.
start 9 more games.
Yeah, 9 more games. And we've got 37 more games to go. So that's just one in itself. But Will, look, it was nice having you on.
nice having
Hopefully
you,
next
man.
week you can come on
Nice
as
one,
well.
mate.
And hopefully speak to you soon. Thank you for coming on.
One more thing.
Yeah,
Diallo.
we'll be talking about him right now. Diallo. That's a good shout. There's other people that mentioned it. Appreciate it, Will. Diallo. All right, cool. Let's start with this. There's lots of comments coming on about Reece Nelson, Edward. Will just said Diallo as well. So
Not Dwight Gale, though.
yeah, personally.
That was
Well, I mean,
a little
without-
bit left field.
Yeah,
was
I
what
didn't
I
expect that. I didn't expect that. But Will, you know, everyone has their opinion. That's
Of
why I
course,
love the
of
game.
course.
That's why I love it
Right,
because everyone just
right.
comes in with their own opinions. That's what
And
makes it.
there's a
makes it
million
enjoyable.
players. There's a million players
Exactly.
out there, and you can mention any one of a million guys in professional soccer and be like, yeah, bring him in.
Yeah. So look, Jay says Edward, Lookman, or Nelson. But quickly, because we want to be talking about the Brentford game as well.
Mm-hmm.
What positions do we need? Personally, I feel like a right winger. You know what? I tweeted this out as well, like a month ago. Initially, I thought a right winger is more important than a striker because I thought no. I didn't. I said a striker is more important than a right winger. Hold up. Let me not say that. I thought a striker was more important than a right winger, and I still stick by that. I'm pretty sure I said that. But I know some people are saying that right wingers right now, a right winger would be more important than having a striker. Where do you guys stand? If you had to pick between the two positions, between a striker and a winger, what would you pick in terms of priority?
I think we need a winger, personally, because I think we've got Techers. Worst case, we've got JP, who, or someone there that can put it in the net. Do you know what I mean? But we do not have that creative right wing. I mean, we've got Raksaki can play there. He can come off the bench, etc., etc. But we do not have that, say, Balassi type on the other side. We had Andros for a couple of seasons, but he was terrible for the last 2 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's be realistic. He wasn't the greatest. And I think that we really, really need that creativity on both the flanks. So I would say winger.
But at this time, before you go into, I just want to say this: we got Raksaki, we got Olise, who's meant to come back as well.
True.
Like we've got options that are there. I mean, Raksaki, I believe in him. I genuinely do, and I don't. People will know if you've been listening back over the next ages. I normally don't overhype academy players because they've been playing good for the under 23s level. There was, for example, this might sound, but Brandon Pierrick, I wasn't too sure if he'll make the step up. Sully Kai, lots of people overhyped him. I wasn't too sure if he was ready. Not because I was being mean, because I genuinely didn't think that he'll be ready for the first team.
Yeah.
But Raksaki, I really do think Saturday he can start. He's ready, and he will grow as a player as well. There's no point in just looking after him. I think he's just ready. Let's respect the guy for who he is and what he's done so far, what he's shown so far. Give him the opportunity. So if you have Raksaki there, if you have Olise there, what's more important? Who do you have up front though? We're talking about options on the right wing, but who do we have up front? We have Benteke. He was good towards the end of last season. And we have Jordan Ayew and JP. So you're asking an awful lot from Benteke to be scoring. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So what is more important now that I've said all them things? Personally, I think it's striker because you're asking an awful lot from Benteke. I'm not too sure how JP is going to unfold come 10, 15 games and whether we're going to even start him because it doesn't seem like he's good enough. And then if he doesn't start, who's our option? Jordan Ayew? Like, we need someone up there. Edward, it will be risky. Like, it will be. But what transfer is risk-free? Like
I think
unless you're signing Messi, or we're not signing them players. Every transfer has risk. So Edward makes more sense to me at this current point of time because we need real competition with Benteke, which I don't think we do have right now with our striking options.
Honestly, when it comes to these types of moves, whether it be on the wing or whether it be up top, I think part of it really depends on what the club is prioritizing and how they see the situation to be, because we don't know how much they believe in JP. We don't know what those conversations are like inside the club, whether they feel like he's going to make it, whether he just needs more time on the pitch, or if they feel like, hey, maybe we need to be limiting this guy so that we don't have to bring him in permanently. And if that's the case, maybe they do need to bring in a striker, because after this year, am I correct? Will Benteke only have 1 year after this one? He's on a 2. He's on a 2. So come next summer, we're going to be talking about probably trying to offload Benteke because he's only got a year left on his contract.
But if he's scoring goals, we won't need to, because we could have offloaded Benteke a long time ago. But he wants to stay here.
I'm saying the conversation is going to be happening because he's only got 1 year left on his contract. With that being said, next summer you could either be down to 2 strikers left, or 1 if you don't bring in a guy, or is the priority on the wing? Because how well is Elise recovering right now? What are they telling us? What do we not know?
But 2 weeks. So it shouldn't be too bad. If you're talking about 2 weeks,
I hear 2 weeks that he starts training and he hasn't had a preseason.
But it's clearly not that bad.
I hear all the rumors. I hear all the things they say is going to happen. But they said that Ferguson was supposed to come back a long time ago,
but he got injured again. That's the thing. He got an injury.
I don't think he's ever going to play.
You were supposed to have Wickham back so many times, and always got hurt. What I'm saying is we don't know what's really going on in behind those walls. So he could either really have a chance of getting back and playing, or they could be like, man, maybe we really need to bring somebody else in that can play right now. Or do you just believe in Roxaki and say, hey, we believe in Jez will be able to do it eventually, and then we'll just keep IU over there for backup. Let's go get a striker.
You got Ebbs coming back January as well.
I honestly would probably. I would honestly probably go for a striker at this point because of not only what we have in a guy that's healthy in Jez, but what we have that's coming on the injured side. I think I'd probably rather go for a striker between those.
All right, we got another guest here. Let's get Jacob on. Jacob, what's going on, man? Good meeting you.
Nice to meet.
What do you make of all the transfer situation and all the players that we got? Do we need a new striker, a new right winger? Do we need a whole new squad? Where do you stand?
Well, obviously, I don't trust Jordan Ayew. Personally, he's one of my guys. I don't want to start. I still think Mateta needs to be given some time first, but obviously I still want Benteke to start. So I'm more for a right winger than I am for a striker, because the way that Diyar, I think, wants to play is he wants his attackers, his wingers, I guess, if he wants to play with a 3 up top. I'd rather have a winger who can pass it or beat a man, because I want to bring the midfield in, because he wants that possession based thing. So I just think to get a winger who can just help build play. I know Raksaki can do that, but somebody else. But I don't know if it was Stan or T said a versatile player who could play up top and right wing would be really helpful.
Right winger. What do you think of the current signings that we got? Are you happy? Are you happy with the business?
I'm ecstatic about it. I was every morning searching through Twitter, just hoping to find Conor Gallagher loan or Mark Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Now looking ahead to the next game, we're going to be talking about it. I'll start with you, Brentford. So, what's your thoughts on it? Any lineup changes that you'll make?
Ayew for Roxaki, most likely. Klein for Ward if Klein is fit, but besides that, Benteke for Mateta as well, but that's it.
Do you start Anderson?
Bring on Conor Gallagher.
Do you start Anderson?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that too. Yeah, obviously.
Kim Anderson. Well, yeah, look, there's going to be players available, but thank you for coming on, Jacob. Hopefully, we'll get the win, and hopefully won't be talking about Patrick Vieira and whether he can do it in the Premier League after the Brentford game. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you, Jacob.
Cheers, mate.
That was Jacob. He set us off nicely for the Brentford preview, which we'll quickly run through because we're running out of time. So I'll start with you, Stan. Brentford versus Palace. They beat Arsenal 2-0. They look like the side that was in the Premier League for 15 years rather than Arsenal did. High press. Got Thomas Frank as manager. He's got crazy belief. I'll be also for the guys that is on a YouTube channel or on Facebook as well. There'll be opposition preview coming out. I'll be talking to a Brentford fan hopefully soon this week. So keep your eye out for that. But what's your thoughts on the Brentford game coming up? Do you think I've seen someone say it? I'm pretty sure I've seen someone say it. Is it a must win?
No.
Please don't say it is. Thank you.
No, absolutely not.
If you got must wins in your second game of the season, it's
And
ridiculous.
you know what?
There was
That's
someone
probably what
saying it.
started me off on Twitter as well. Is people the must wins and whatever. Listen,
It's a process, man.
it's a process. We got to give it time. I want to win this game as much as anybody, but we have to take a step back and see what's happening. Is it an important game? Yes, it is an important game. It's important that we give a good account of ourselves. It's important that Vieira makes the right changes that, might restore a little bit more faith in some people. I mean, that some people don't currently have it in. So it's important from there. Is it a must win? Absolutely not. They're a decent side. They'll give us a game, but it's not a must win.
Yeah. Which Jacob there just mentioned about couple lineup changes. What do you think of the suggestion that he made? There was a couple there, Conor Gallagher coming into the lineup. But before we talk about personnel, do you think that we should go with the same 4-4-2 formation or just change it up?
No, I don't think we should go with a 4-4-2. I do not think we should do that.
I've got PTSD from that formation. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
Roy Hodgson 4-4-2 is killing me. But I'll give Vieira the benefit of the doubt. I understand why he played that against Chelsea because he wanted to be more sure defensively, and I understand that you're facing champions of Europe. It's your first game. You don't want to get absolutely smashed, which we did, which happened. But yeah, I personally feel like a 4-3-3 or matching up Brentford. I'm not too sure what formation they play. I think that would be suitable for us. Yeah,
they're gonna run
like
up.
that.
Yeah,
They got some good players.
However you want to say it. Yeah, they got some good players. And they're going to probably set up and try to play similar to how we saw Chelsea play. They're going to play three at the back. They're going to press us. I think they probably press even harder, to be honest with you. I think the one thing we shouldn't do is do the 4-4-2. I think we could do fine in a 4-3-3, but I could understand us matching and going, and going with the three at the back scheme. However, we would want to see that done. Changes wise, I would bring in Anderson. I'd bring in Klein if he's healthy. Me personally, I would bring in Jez over IU. The Gallagher thing could go either way for me. I mean, I'd be fine with starting him, but I also like what he brings as a substitute right now for us because
he brings a starter, man.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I can totally understand why people want him to be. But I guess just watching what he did in preseason, he brings a change to the game, which is like almost a super sub kind of feel, where he just comes in and he immediately changes the flow of the game. The one thing that I worry about with a center midfielder like him is he's super aggressive, and you don't want him getting that card really, really early. But I'd be perfectly fine with seeing him start, to be honest with you.
I'll start for me. Changes. Anderson comes into the lineup. I feel like Anderson and Mark Guay, both their partnership is what we need if we're trying to play the football that we're trying to play, playing out from the back, balls over the tops. We both. I don't think Kouyaté is a ball playing defender. He does a role, but we got a better option there. Anderson comes in for me. Kleiny, if he's fit, he comes in at right 100%. Back for me. And in midfield, if we're doing a 4-3-3, I'm putting Conor Gallagher in there. He needs to start for me. I think alongside Diyar and Maka.
So we're taking Schlupp out.
Yeah, I think it depends on what. So if we're doing that, Wilf on the left, Schlupp can play on the right. Depends what we're doing. Schlupp can play on the right, or we can put Raksaki there.
Left foot,
JP.
But I say,
but he played on the right before, even under Hodgson. He can cut in.
I'd rather have him flip and play on the left than have Wilf on the right.
I don't.
Schlupp can play midfield.
Raksaki Benteke.
Yeah, but it depends what you're trying to do. If we're trying to put crosses into the box, then it makes sense. But if you're trying to cut in, then playing Wilf on the right, it's not gonna. Wilf on the left is more suitable. As like that, he can cut in and shoot with his right foot, and like that,
True.
Jeff can cut in and shoot with his left foot. But it depends. If Jeff is not playing, if it's Raksaki playing, then that would be my option. But I think Gallagher has to start in midfield. He's just too good technically to not start, and you have to put him alongside Maka and Jaro, and we'll have the midfield on lock. I truly believe it. He's from what I've seen in pre-season, what I've seen last season. I think he's the man going forward for us, and he's going to be so vital for us. But before we end the show, it's been a long show. Enjoyed it so far.
Good though.
Enjoyed it.
Absolutely,
Yeah, it's been very good. It's
absolutely.
been good chatting to everyone coming on, sending your comments as well. I'll read out some comments because if I put it on, there's going to be Stan's face going to disappear, and I don't want that to happen. So I'll read it out. I'll read it out. Johnny's had just talking about Johnny Williams. He went to Swindon. Yeah, he went to Swindon. I feel bad for him. Because
where's he dropped down the league so much? He's not a bad player. He could do a job, League One, Championship.
Injured all the time.
Injuries, man. He's never healthy, man. He was never healthy when he went to Charlton. Like the best ability is availability, apparently.
Yeah.
Ready, man. Yeah, ready. I feel bad for him. But hopefully he does well in Swindon. But how old is he now? There's that
20,
situation
26,
as well.
27?
He's 20.
He must be older than 26, 27.
I thought he was around the same age as Wilf.
Maybe he is.
Yeah, he must be older than 26. He's been about for years. Jay says Zar left wing, Benteke striker, Raksaki right wing. Hold up, yeah. I mentioned about the wingers, but Benteke starts up front. 27.
Turns 28 this year.
27, yeah.
He's 28. Fuck me.
Yeah.
He's not played. He's not played many games, really. If you think about it.
No, I mean, if you think about it from his time that he came to us to now, I feel like he's probably only played a handful of games.
Yeah,
it's scary, man. It's scary. Well, look, we're gonna be ending it here. Before you go, if you haven't already done so, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. There'll be loads of new content coming out this season. I can promise you that. It's just I'm working on it. I just don't want to put it out there when it's not all set and done. And also, if you have enjoyed this live stream, we've enjoyed it. Thank you for everyone joining us. Leave a like. As it helps out massively with the YouTube algorithm. And next Tuesday, around the same time, we'll be here again. Until next time, up the palace.
Up the palace.
Like,